All right, back in the garage. You have to bear with me because there is a lot of information to cover here. So the first thing that I want to chat about is a bit of maintenance items, or I guess OCD maintenance items that I've done to this sled. Just because it was sitting for a long time prior to me buying it, it was basically in storage for years. So what I ended up doing after last year is all the bearings in the rear suspension, the drive axle and the jack shaft were changed. All the fuel filters were changed. The secondary clutch was pulled apart last season when I did the clutch kit and rebuilt. I pulled it apart again and added high torque rollers this fall. Also, the primary clutch, I did a complete rebuild, including bushings. I actually got an extra sliding sheave, and now I just swap the sliding sheave and put the new bushings in the one, get it ready for next year type thing. I did ramps, rollers, like everything in the primary clutch has been rebuilt for this year. I swapped out those self-tapping bolts in the chain case to regular bolts. Also, I do the gear oil twice a year. And this year I did I pulled my PTO seal and cleaned out the old IsoFlex, put new IsoFlex in there, and put a new PTO seal on. That's something I'm going to do every single year. And yeah, so what I did to the drive line in this sled is I put a I-backshift or Dynamo Joe dual elevation clutch kit in. That's been one of the best changes that I think was done to this sled, period. I also shaved the lugs to 1.75 inches and did a little bit of reprofiling this year. So you can kind of see that right here. I beveled them a little bit. This thing still has stupid good traction. I've never had a problem with it. This year I went to 2249 gearing. Stock is 19. I went to 2249, tried that out. Didn't really like it as much as I liked the 2349. So I went back to a 2349 gearing setup. And honestly, I think that's the sweet spot for this sled. The clutching is absolutely perfect. It flashes to 8,000 and then drops to 7,900 and stays there. It's just like performs so amazing, and it's so tame when it's in the bush and I need really fine throttle control and need to crawl around a little bit. It's just really nice that way. And I'm not a catwalk guy, so I hate it when a sled goes in a direction that I don't want it to. When I hit the throttle, I want the sled to just pick up a little bit and go straight. I don't want it to kick the skis to the air. And I find with these summits that when they're geared too low, the amount of torque from the motor tends to unload the front arm and the suspension, which causes the skis to come up and all the weight to transfer rearward. With that 23 top gear, it seems to tame that quite a bit. Honestly, like it's to me the perfect amount of torque getting to the track, and it's not enough that it unloads that front arm, and it keeps the skis, like it takes a bit of pressure off the skis, but it keeps everything really nice and planted. And going to a lower gear seems to exaggerate the unloading of the front arm. And honestly, that sucks when you're in the snow, because as soon as that front arm unloads, the track angle gets steeper and you end up trenching like crazy. So yeah, I like this setup quite a bit. And I can run a higher preload in the front arm and not have the sled want to teeter-totter under throttle. So the gearing plays to me a big part in that. And right now with this length of track and lug height, I think the 23 top gear is just about perfect for like an all-rounder type setup. Because remember, I'm flat land here. I'm not mountain riding this thing. So yeah, really, really good modification. I think made the biggest, like that and the clutching were some of the biggest differences ever. The bumper, we switched the flimsy bumper out to a heavy duty Hitch rear bumper, because I do pull a sleigh quite a bit, especially when, you know, we're out ice fishing and whatnot. I had to cut this flap a little bit, like only about an inch or so off the bottom, just because it was chewed up and looked like hell. The next thing, put a Skinz Brett Rassmusen front bumper on. I just like the look of this bumper, and I like that it does have some give to it if you ever smack something. So it's not going to transfer the impact to the chassis or whatnot. I originally had a backwoods BMP front bumper for this sled, but it fits like garbage with the skid plate here, whereas the Rassmusen front bumper fits perfectly. And there's a aluminum plate in there that bolts to the inside. So like where these down tubes connect to, there's a plate that braces all that inside. So very, very nice. I love the look of it. I love the exposed TIG welds and kind of how it flows with the lines of the sled. The backwoods BMP bumper is actually on my other sled that I'll be doing a video on later on. Yeah, it fits really well on that sled. So basically, yeah, love this bumper. Really cool. Next thing that we did was the grip and rip upper and lower A-arm and S module braces. So you can see the brace right there, extra piece of aluminum angled with a L bracket that's bolted on, and then the lower brace, which is kind of hard to see with all this other stuff. But yeah, this was a real pain to put in with the Mainway stuff as well, because I did everything at the same time and there was only one of me, and so it was a bit of a bear to put in, but no, it worked out okay. We did the removable skid plate hardware as well. Mainway does these really nice removable skid plate hardware, and yeah, not hard to put in at all. The hardest part is drilling out the stupid stock rivets. They're a real pain to get out. The next thing I did was, you can't even really see it though, it's a clutch tower brace. It's actually just one from eBay. I didn't do a Raceworks or anything like that. Simply because I don't want a $300 brace in there. So you can kind of see it right there. It's just a piece of aluminum flat bar, fairly thick, but bent up really nice, and it fits really well and it does its job. So I'm not going to complain about it. And it was a whole 65 bucks. So that's a deal. The rear suspension, what we did there is, I already have a video on this, so I'll just go through it real quick. We did put Hygear spring spacers in, and those are the red, covered in snow here, but those red inserts underneath the springs. So they just keep the springs nice and flat and make a big difference on how the suspension cycles. It's almost like having more spring rate, which is really nice. We did do the billet axle spacers and track tension blocks. So that's right here, Hygear. The axle spacers. Yeah, so they're billet as well, covered in snow. Sorry, I'm not prepared. These are really nice, super tough. The stock ones are plastic, and I think that's a really bad place to have plastic. So those are really well worth it. Also did the Munster rail brace, which is that black piece on the bottom of the rail there. Yeah, so that's a really nice piece, and it comes with a cross brace in the rear there. So that's not their stock, is only that one aluminum piece. So this really stiffens up the back here, really nice. Also did the front mounted rail scratchers. So those will work really good. I'm a big fan of these. They're very tough, and They do a really nice job of throwing the snow, like a lot of snow and dust, to get sucked up by the back, because I had the rear tunnel mounted scratchers and they were just way too far forward, or sorry, way too far rearward to make a huge difference. Just wasn't enough time to get the snow sucked up around the track. But these will be really nice. I'm going to put a set of cable scratchers on just as a backup. Just trying to find the best place to do that, given there's just a lot of stuff going on here. The next thing we did is I put Mainway Solutions greaseable bushings throughout the rear suspension. On anything I could, there's a Mainway greaseable bushing in there. I also did the Mainway T-Motion Delete kit and the brace kit. So that's on this joint right here. So you can see it there. No more T-Motion. It's locked right out. And if you do the T-Motion Delete kit from Mainway, I suggest you do the brace kit in conjunction with that. That just makes way more sense, and there'll be a lot more strength back there. Also put on some Dupont Vespel sliders or Hyfax on there. So that'll be really nice, I think, for the low snow conditions we sometimes get, or when we have to do a little bit of road running and the roads are plowed. It's always makes me cringe. So this will be really nice for that. Very, very durable, proven product. For the front suspension here, we did the Mainway Greaseable A-Arm kit. So upper and lower all have greaseable A-arms. I also did the stabilizer bar bushing kit, which really basically takes all the play out of the stabilizer bar. The play in the stabilizer bar stock is crazy. It's so loose and clangs around in there. This now, it's completely solid and really smooth. Yeah, and not like very, very easy to install. The next thing is I did buy some Sly Dog Attack skis. I've had this out a couple of times now with these skis, and you know what? I really love these skis. I think these are winners. I've tried a few different types of skis. The DS2 is not too bad. Like for a stock ski, I didn't really have too many complaints about it. I tried the Pilot. I had Pilot 5.9s and I had Pilot 7.4s. The Pilot 7.4s were horrible. I still have them. They're sitting on the bench right now. Did not like them with this sled, but these skis are really nice. They seem to do really well in hard pack. They're amazing in the soft snow. Really nice for carving. Like wider, but not too wide. And they kind of look cool on the sled as well, if that's important to you. So, and this also, these have 6-inch shaper bars on them. So that makes a nice difference too, just because, you know, so much track length. What else did we do? All the miscellaneous type stuff. I did install an EarthX lithium iron phosphate battery. Jury's still out on whether I think that's going to be a good thing or not. I do solar as my small business, and honestly, I know the limitations of lithium iron phosphate batteries, and cold is a massive limitation of them. So it'll be interesting to see how this performs. I am skeptical. So yeah, but I'll let you know whether it's good or not and worth the money. It certainly is light, I'll tell you that. The next thing I did was the BRP recoil kit right back there. And I also put some heat shielding over it because everything's plastic in there. I'm going to just say that recoils are junk. It's all plastic. It's got like a plastic push nut to hold everything in. I don't fully trust it, but it's only there for backup. And the heat shielding should help it, you know, give it more life, because I know heat kills those things. Also put on the BRP adjustable riser, which is really nice. I didn't really have a complaint about the height of my bars. I thought they were really, really good, but this would be nice just to give it a bit of extra height when I'm standing and lower it a bit when I'm sitting. But yeah, it's just like had an opportunity to buy one, so I did. Also did the BRP tank bag, which is really, really nice. I bought one for my other sled as well. We did do, last year I did a video where we had the Kimpex seat jack. So that's what these mounting bolts here, or these mounting nubs are for. So the seat jack just clips right on, clips right off. Very, very easy to put on and off. It's right now sitting right there where the Pilot 7.4 skis are. Next thing is I switched out the XM instrument support to the XS instrument support, just to lay the gauges more upright rather than having them flat like the Summit. I just, personal preference, like that setup a bit better. That's all. The stock one's right there. If anybody wants to buy it, I'll let it go cheap. The next big modification, or I call it big modification, is I did put the auxiliary LED headlight in. And the main reason I did this is when you have the high beams on, there's a real dead area in the front of the sled where no light goes and you can't really see what's directly in front of you. Well, this light like lights up that area like crazy. So it's a nice addition. They are overpriced. I will totally admit that. They're a bit of a pain to install, but yeah, but I'm really happy with it. And you know, I did put the BeamTech bulbs in as well, and they match the light temperature really, really closely. The only thing you have to do if you put BeamTech bulbs in is in here. These are aftermarket dust covers. So they're way bigger, and they cover up the BeamTech bulb, the heatsink, the connection, everything's encapsulated in there, just because on the XS chassis, the wiring is inside the headlight. So it kind of screws up things a bit. So yeah, you had to get those from eBay. I'll put a link to them, and like really easy to do. It's actually easy if you take the entire headlight apart, or the instrument cluster, sorry, apart, and then put your bulbs in. It just makes it so much easier. But I did these ones without taking all that apart. So what else do we do here? Oh, the BeamTech lights are also 8,000 lumen headlights, and they do have the proper beam cutoffs. As you can see, they've got those little shields sticking out. So they give you the proper beam pattern, proper beam cutoff. And so you don't have to worry about having like weird light artifacts with them. They're really, really good, and very affordable actually. I was really surprised. I did end up getting a Garmin Montana 700i GPS, which has the inReach function. What I did for that is I bought the trailsystems.com rail mount. So they give you a cover with a Heiko connector, a Heiko bushing, and then they put this rail mount right into the cover, and it's bolted right through, like good support. And then I just use a RAM mount and an amps compatible mount for the 700. And then what I did is I just put a 12 volt to 5 volt converter on and just wired it up with multi-pack connectors. So now I can just take the entire cover and swap it with one, with the stock one, so that whenever I want to bring my GPS, I can. If I don't, I just take the whole unit off. This is going to get cleaned up and wired up nice and look all nice, but that's what it looks like for now. But that GPS is an amazing GPS. It's really, really nice. A little pricey, but well worth it for us, especially with the inReach function. I also put the BRP 12 volt outlet kit and the heated visor power outlet kit on here. I did black out the windshield, and I used a SEM adhesion promoter, SEM, black satin finish, paint and SEM black satin finish clear coat. So the paint finish matches on the windshield, matches the paint finish on the sled. So it looks really cool. I also bought a low windshield, so it's a little bit higher, so that when I have the GPS on, the windshield kind of covers the GPS. It's not sticking up above the windscreen. I did put heat reflective foil on the bottom side of the airbox when I had everything apart, just because it's so close to the exhaust, and a lot of that heat's going to get absorbed by the plastic. So I just did that, just make the engine run as efficiently as I possibly can with very, very low cost, modification there. The next thing that was done was I did put a silencer in. Now, I hate loud exhaust. I hate race cans. I think they sound ridiculous. That high-pitched, buzzy, annoying, sounds like a child having a tantrum, in the grocery store. Don't like that sound whatsoever. So I was looking for the last year for an exhaust that was lighter than stock, but had the same noise level as stock and the same tone as stock. So anyway, got onto this Skinz Hushboxx, and I was very skeptical. I was ready to unload it if it didn't, do what it said it was going to do. But I'm extremely satisfied with it. It is nice and quiet. It's not any louder at all than stock. It's got a nice deep tone to it. It's super tame, even under high throttle, maximum throttle or full throttle. It doesn't buzz and sound obnoxious. It sounds just like the stock muffler, except it's 13 or 14 or whatever pounds lighter, and makes it easier to get at things, just because of the slightly smaller size. But it is a legit silencer. The thing is amazingly well built and very easy to put in, and I really like it. And honestly, I'll, again, I don't have any endorsements or anything like that, but I will fully endorse this thing. It actually meets the legal spec for noise. So I'm very happy with that. And between the battery and the Hushboxx, I've lost over 20 pounds off of this side of the sled. So yeah, that's, I think that's pretty much everything I've done to the sled. I don't think I'm going to do anything else to it. I was thinking of converting the front suspension to the S36 RAS2 front suspension, but I don't know if that's going to be worth it, because it's like $1,000 for the front suspension. You get shocks with it, but so it'd be nice to have an extra set of shocks, but I don't know if that's going to be totally worth doing. I don't know if RAS2 in the S36 has much more advantages over the RAS1, which what this has. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not really sold on it. We'll see how things go this year. Yeah. So again, long rambling video. That's pretty much what I've done to the sled this year. It runs absolutely bloody perfect. I did forget to mention, I did put new plugs and new wires this year as well. So every year I change plugs and wires. So, and everybody says, oh, you don't have to. Yeah, I've taken, I don't even drive hard. And if you take an E-Tech plug out and look at it and compare it to a new one, these things are hard on electrodes because there's so much amperage going through that system that I don't really trust the plug to last super long. So it's like clutches. I don't care how many miles are on the sled. I'm going to do the PTO seal and grease. I'm going to rebuild clutches every year. I'm going to do plugs and wires every year, and I'm going to do fuel filters every year. It just makes sense to do that. So, especially when you invest in a sled that you want to keep for a long time, like I do. I want to drive this thing till it drops. So yeah. Anyway, I'll be doing another video on the other sled that I bought this year, which is a 2019 Expedition 550F. I know, not super exciting, but for my work, getting in and out of like camp properties and things like that, where this thing would you know, not really be the ideal machine for that. That one is going to be the ideal machine. So I have done a few little things to it, nothing crazy. And then my wife also is going to use it for ice fishing. So we've outfitted it a little bit to do kind of both utility and some ice fishing. So anyhow, I'll end it here. Yeah, so everybody have a wonderful Christmas, holiday, New Year, and hopefully you're getting snow like we are and you can get out riding. All right, have a good one.